Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Sons of the City. My name is Blake Henderson and joining me today is Costa, Tim, Daniel, Chris, Jack and Josh, all members and fans of the club since they got a Melbourne Heart. On today's episode, we're going to talk about the return to football and the upcoming game against Sydney FC. I will be now passing on to my co-host, Tim Sands, with the thoughts of the game coming.
Hey everyone, I've got the task of dissecting the actual squad and trying to come up with a starting 11. Now, the way I see the club lining up tomorrow against Sydney, obviously Glover will be in goals. That's a foregone conclusion. The four defenders, because I believe will be a 4-3-3, will be Scott Jamieson, Curtis Good, Richard Winterblecker. I can never pronounce it. That's Windblecker. Oh, yeah. Anyway, what our good host there, Blake, said. And I think Nathaniel Atkinson will be the fourth defender. In the midfield, we'll go with Josh Belanti, Florin, and Adrian Luna. And our forwards will be Craig Noon, Jamie McLaren, and look, they'll either, I believe, go with Lockie Wales or could even be Connor Metcalf, is my personal opinion. I would prefer Connor in there. Any other thoughts, guys?
I have my starting 11. The only two changes I would make from that squad is probably Scott Galloway at right back and moving Atkinson up the field, or either Stefan Kolakowski instead of Wales.
Yep.
It's going to be a pretty good
Yeah.
one. But what my concerns are, doesn't matter how good the team's on paper, is if you've noticed the trend in the A-League this season, after the comeback, is that the teams, they take normally a couple of games to get into the gear. Even Sydney FC hasn't travelled as good as the Premier should. You know, that's my concern. Has our boys had enough run time on the field? That's my concern, like game fitness.
I must say, what I do like though of coming up against Sydney is Grant should be still out because I believe he did his hamstring last game, which I believe he's their best player. So I think he creates a lot of their drive. So that could possibly be a tick for us,
which is good for us all the time when there's less players that aren't performing.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, would anyone have any other suggestions of possible starting lineup with the squad we currently have?
Yeah, I would put Atkinson up front.
You reckon you play Aki up front?
Because he was originally a winger.
Jack lost video.
There is. Jack and Josh, any changes you guys would make?
What about you, Josh? You come on, Mr. Football.
Well, I'm looking at the Sydney FC squad right now and stuff, and they lost their first game back. Well, they won their first game back against Wellington and lost against Newcastle at home. So, obviously, they're coming off a loss, so they'll obviously be trying to win. But I think it's either we go out there and we prove that we can beat these guys. Obviously, if we win, we go second. Am I right?
Yeah, because I think today's game is Wellington play today.
Yeah, Wellington play Western Sydney one.
Yeah, so that game we need, for us to get second position, we need Western Sydney to knock off the Phoenix, but they've been playing some beautiful football, man, the last couple of games.
Yeah.
They look scary.
Yes.
The break hasn't hit them at all. They've just been playing good football the whole season.
They've probably got the biggest advantage out of everyone because obviously they've had to go from a country to another country. We've only had to do interstate, so that might prepare them a bit better as well.
Yeah,
I'm assuming we're going to go into the game as the underdogs. But if you saw yesterday's game with Adelaide and Perth, it was an 8-goal thriller, that game. And Adelaide United ended up winning that game 5-3. So that kind of gives us a little bit of hope, even though Adelaide United's had a very horrible season.
Not only that, Adelaide's still playing has got a chance to play finals too. If I find my
Yeah, they're sixth right now.
That's
They
right.
knocked
Yes,
the started out.
and they got the good goal difference now with those 5 goals they kicked last night.
And the other thing too, Josh, is to take out of it is the effort by Newcastle. Because let's face it, they even lost a coach during the season because they were playing that poorly. And to beat Sydney 2-1, that's probably showing a bit of, giving us a bit of incentive as well.
Yeah,
the thing I see with Wellington, like you said, Tim, they had a kind of weird advantage where they came over to Australia into the hub like 2 weeks before Melbourne City, Western Sydney, and Victory did. So it kind of helped them out a little bit more than with our boys. But our boys have been training non-stop since this happened. So I don't think fitness will be a problem with this. I just think game fitness will be our main concern going into the game.
A bit of ring rust, as they say in the fight game.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
What do you reckon, Jackie boy?
I've got 2 concerns. Okay, obviously the break and the effect that the break's going to have on our boys. We haven't had a game, no warm-up game, no nothing. So at the moment, everything we're reading, everything we're seeing, it's all based on passion and the fact that, like, hey, we're going to play. Okay, so to me, it's like, okay, that's good, but we haven't really played against anybody for almost 2 months. There's a big difference between training and then going out there and playing a championship match. So that's my first concern. My second one is, how do you replace somebody like Susueta?
Yeah.
That's going to be a hard one.
Like, he was such a vital player, in our team, and suddenly we've lost him. And I don't know. I don't think we've got another player in our list that could even come close to what this guy was doing for us.
Because he was creating chances for us. He was a threat up, even when he was running up forward and all that. He was a threat. Like, the defenders were worried about him. You know what I mean? Now we know we got J-Mac up front, but pretty much that's the only major forward that we've got.
And with Susueta, he actually drew opposition defenders onto him, which means then some of our guys were free as well.
The thing with that is, again, I understand why he went back to Spain due to the fact that family matters. But again, it is a little bit of a loss to the team. But I believe the boys will be able to come through this game and hopefully future games as well.
One only hopes so.
Right. So rundown, basically, we're scared, but I feel confident. Anyway, let's go on.
Okay, so now we'll pass it over to Daniel and Jack, who have the stats and figures for the game against Sydney FC. So, Daniel, Jack, over to you guys.
Okay, well, looking at my extensive spreadsheet that I've got here, we played Sydney FC 31 times. That's in A-League and also in the FFA Cup. We've never played this team in the friendly, so in the 31 meetings that we had against Sydney FC, my data's gone a bit skew here. We've only beaten them 10 times. And Sydney have actually had the upper hand on us for all the other games. The one thing that I take out of the games against Sydney is that we always give them a match. I think out of all the teams that Sydney face against Melbourne City or Melbourne Heart, they've always had a bit of a tough run. So the wins against us don't come easy. And if we look at probably the last game we played against them, where we were leading 1-0, then we kind of sort of put the game away. It kind of says for, like, had we been more clinical in our finish, we would have put Sydney out of contention.
Do you think also with the game against Sydney that they've already won the minor premiership? Do you think they're going to take a seat back now and let the season play out, or do you think they're going to come out hammer and tong like I think they will.
You know,
It's that Sydney versus Melbourne thing.
Yeah, I reckon they might actually drop a gear and not come out
They might put
full pelt.
So they could
They
probably
might
rest
come out a
couple
little
of
bit
their
slower.
key players that carrying little minor injuries
Yes.
and sort of thing. Yeah, that could happen.
The thing I see with this game is that, yes, Sydney have won the minor premiership and they do have a little bit of injuries that they've got to worry about final series. But it's the Sydney versus Melbourne rivalry. I don't care that Melbourne victory Sydney FC, the main rivalry for that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, every time Melbourne City and Sydney FC come together, it's always a great game. They even if it's the young kids playing for Sydney, they're still out there giving their 110%, and that can cause a little bit of trouble for our boys.
Yeah, and Blake, the other thing too is apart from the Sydney-Melbourne rivalry, I believe we have a rivalry with every club because of our ownership.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of envy out there as well.
Yeah. In regards to Daniel's side of things, I've gone over both teams and how many players we've swapped over the years or taken away from each other. And overall,
we've gained 5 players from Sydney FC and we've lost 8 players to Sydney FC
so it's kind of
over
like
the 10 years.
Yeah, so it's kind of like our second team, basically.
Yeah.
We're kind of their second team, like Adelaide's kind of like our second team. We like to take the players from Adelaide.
With that in mind, Danny boy, do you think that we got the better deal out of the deals with Sydney FC, or do you
Yes
think
and no.
it holds us?
Yes and no.
Why yes?
Well,
why no? Why no?
No, because we've lost a couple good players like Zulo and Retray and Polly and the goalkeeper and Bratz. But we got the better deal between Bratz and Josh Belante.
I think we got the better deal with Belante over Bratz.
Yeah.
The thing I see with Andrew Redmayne, and no offense to the dude, decent bloke, but when he played for us, it was like he's a different person. Now he's at Sydney FC. And I do remember one time, and I'm not going to go on about this, I went up to Brisbane to watch the team play, and he had an absolute fighter against them playing for us. And that's the only good thing I remember that player as a goalkeeper as a part of that team.
Is it fair to say that he's possibly got, a more experienced 3 or 4 in front of him, which has helped him along the way at Sydney, though, too?
I'm pretty sure that could be the fact. If he could have been in our side now, I reckon he would have been doing the same thing as he's doing right now. So I just think we lack the experience.
Like Jack has pointed out a few times in our other conversations, that it's also coaching. Maybe they're coaching him or mentoring him different, you know what I mean? Because I remember back in the Heart days, mate, we'd rock up to the game and you see the lineup, you see Redmayne in goal, and I thought, how many are we going to cop?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But now he's become an awesome goalkeeper. And
see, I think he's come down a little bit and knocked too. So I'm not sure they're going to risk him tomorrow night as well. So we might have the backup goalkeeper for Sydney as well playing. So I think we might not see him tomorrow, but he might pull something out as he's behind.
And end of the day, they're already there. They're already in the finals. They know which position they're into the finals. It's probably well worth resting a few blokes.
What do you reckon, Jackie boy?
Yeah, no, look, everything that you guys are saying is correct, My biggest concern is we haven't played, and this is our first game in 1 or 2 months. How do we approach it? Like, obviously, the guys are keen. I actually sent a message today to J-Mac, when he came back and said the boys are pumped. Let me put it this way: the first probably 10 or 15 minutes will probably give us an idea as to where we're at. I agree with everybody. I don't think the Sydney are going to risk, players for for what it's virtually a dead rubber for them. But my question is, they're playing against a team that's going to be in the finals. Okay, if you're that team, would you want to send them a message to say, even without our stars on the field, we can still beat you? Bit of a psychological battle.
Yeah. So with that, Jack, and that's a very good.
I've got a question for you, Jackie boy. Being an ex-player and playing in a high level of football, and also get to put on the Socceroos top. I think you said you're under 18s or something.
84.
In 1984, you put on the Socceroos top. If this was you, how would you approach it? How would you approach the game? Would you do extra stuff on the training track? Would you change certain stuff you do during the day to build up to the game? How would you go ahead about the build up to the break, that season, and then the stoppage, and then the season start again?
It's a really hard question, mate, because I was lucky, but but it never happened to us, back in those days there. But this is more a good question for Josh, because obviously, like, he's been affected by the COVID-19, and you boys came to watch him play, about a month ago. So, Joshy, what do you think?
Obviously, stopping and then doing hard training and stopping again doesn't really help the body. So I wouldn't be surprised if we pick up a few injuries along the way, especially in the first half of the game. I wouldn't be surprised if someone goes down.
Yeah. And funny enough, you say that, Josh, about the starting back, getting sore, injuries, that sort of thing. The NBA started back today in the basketball. I know it's a different sport, but end of the day, they've had 4.5 months away from playing, and they were right deep into their season. And you could see those players, there's a lot of cobwebs, and they were pulling up sore.
Yeah.
So I believe, because most of the people watching it will know I actually work at the club. I believe we've got one of the best medical teams in the league this season, and I've actually seen some stuff from the medical team that is saying we are better now with this sort of pre-season to start back up than we were at the end of pre-season for the actual start of the season. So I believe the medical team and the fitness team have worked very hard with the boys, even in isolation. And I believe we'll probably come out with hardly anyone injured. That's what I believe.
And the other thing too, Blake, is I think it's the first time I've had some serious confidence in the coach for a long time.
But yeah, no, I think to be honest, I think the boys are pumped, and I know they're pumped because you could see their videos. Even Scotty Jamo posted a video today from the webpage. My concerns is like what Jackie boy says. We've been 2-3 months out of football. Boys haven't played. You could run a mile, mate, and you could be super fit running and super fit quick on your feet and all that. But you got Sydney FC's got 3 games under their belt from the comeback, you know what I mean? Return the football. We've had none. They're pumped. They won the premiership. Hopefully, and it's not Liverpool related, but hopefully that they come playing like Man City played against Liverpool. Like when Liverpool went to Man City to play them and they smacked us 4-0. You know what I mean? So hopefully they got a bit of a hangover, but look, with 3 games under their belt after football return, and us just our first game, I'm concerned.
Will crowds do any effect because they'll be playing in front of an empty stadium?
I don't believe so.
I don't think the empty stadium, even if the Sydney FC had fans at the game, I don't think it'll be an issue as well.
So with that fans being a game, there has been a rule from the FFA: any game involving the Victorian side, no fans are included with fans. So even though Sydney FC is the nominated home team, due to the fact we are playing away from home, no fans will be in the game.
I really don't understand why the FFA would do such a thing, because the fans are dying to go back. You can control who goes into the game, right? Depending on, you can't have like, so if they say they have 5,000 people out in the game, you can't have 4,000 Sydney FC supporters and no City support. But there is a lot of people that live in Sydney that are City supporters. Why can't they go to the game?
That's again, it's advice of medical, the doctors in Australia. So
Yeah.
they're turning around and saying, because it's a Victorian team, we don't want to, just in case, you know, even though none of our boys have come back positive or anything like that, they're just looking after the New South Wales people.
Okay, then explain why the AFL, and this is another topic altogether for what we've gone off our topic of the show, but why is the AFL allowing players in Sydney and in Brisbane allow fans at the games? The NRL's got fans at the games. I know, you know what I mean? Melbourne Storm playing Sydney, there's Storm support in the stadium. Why can't we have Melbourne City, Sydney siders attend the game?
That's the question for the government, I believe, in the state of football. No, hang on, no. I know this is that's why I'm answering. That's a question for the federal government, because the federal government would give the AFL the all clear to have fans. They would have gave the all clear for the NRL to have fans. And they would have turned around and said to the A-League, hey, you guys can have fans as long as it's not a Victorian team.
Yet our lovely Prime Minister will sit inside 1.5 meters of people at an NRL game.
Yeah.
Great government. Anyway,
we'll move on.
Next.
Daniel and Jack, do you have any more stats or statistics you want to go through for the game?
I don't.
No, I've got nothing, guys. Unfortunately, my data crashed a couple of weeks ago, so I had some real funky stuff to actually provide tonight. But it's a work in progress. Okay, so.
Fair enough. Okay.
I do have some stats.
Oh, go, Joshy.
Joshy.
The 2 games that Sydney FC have played, they haven't, especially the last game they played against Newcastle, they didn't really look particularly well, especially up front. Costa Barbarouses hasn't scored a goal in both games, and Lafondra has scored 1 goal, but it was only a penalty. So they're not exactly high in confidence up front, as you can see. So I think that's another key for us right now.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point, but I could make with Costa Barbarouses, the guy just loves playing against City. Even back in his victory days, man, he'd just run and run and run. He hates Melbourne City, so he always plays his best football against us.
But I reckon they're going to have a little bit of hungover. They might not even risk him tonight. That's the thing. We don't know how Sydney's going to line up. That's the thing. Are they going to go full strength, or are they going to say, hey, hang on, we've already won the premiership. We may as well rest some play.
True.
You've got all these different varieties that could go on.
They're thinking the next bit of silverware, so they're going to do whatever they can to prepare them best for the finals.
Yeah. And plus, they've got Asian Champions League as well.
Yeah. So they'll be thinking about that as well. So until 10 minutes before, half an hour before kickoff, we don't know what side Sydney's going to play.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see. All right, let's move on, Blakey.
So we are now going to move on to the prediction part, which will be run by the godfather himself, Mr. Costa. So Costa, over to you, mate.
Look, my concerns, like I said in the show, my concerns are same as Jackie boys, that our boys haven't played football for so long. I see the videos and I see the posts and read the articles. They're super fit, super pumped. But as a sportsman, I played gridiron for 11 years. That break, even from an injury side of things, you're never going to come back 100% game fitness, and that's what concerns me. Yeah, we could probably start strong, but are we going to run out of legs in that second half? That's my concern. You know what I mean? And the team like Sydney FC, even though, like Joshy said before, even though their forward line, Lafondra and Barbarouses haven't been firing on all cylinders. You got Brats that could put it outside the box. You got Katsaris that kicked the ripper goal last week. You know what I mean? And they're guys that can score. And when a team like Sydney, when they do score, they're pretty rock solid in the back line. You know what I mean? And they lost last week. They're not going to come back and lose again. You know what I mean? So my prediction is, and I'll ask you boys your predictions. I believe we're going to win 1-0, but it'll be it'll be to the wire. It'll be a hard-fought defensive game. I think we're going to be more on the defensive side of things than attacking, and we'll probably counter them with the speed of McLaren and that. And you're probably right, Danny Boy, that we probably put Atkinson to get him run free up the wings. You know what I mean? And because he uses his pace on the game like that. But yeah, that's my prediction: 1-0, but really tough. What do you reckon, you guys are, Chris and Danny Boy?
I'm actually sitting on a draw. It is a 0-0 draw because it all depends on how they play.
I reckon we'll win 2-1.
2-1.
Just because the weather and all that will favour us, and the Sydney might not be ready to perform, and they might rest their players. So 2-1.
Okay. What about you boys, Jackie and Mr. Joshua?
I think it's going to be a very, very scrappy game. I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of goals, and I'm going for a very interesting prediction of 4-2 to City.
Jackie?
Well, I've got two predictions here. Okay, I got one from the heart, and I got one from my calculator that I put together a couple of weeks ago. Now, the heart says that City's going to pull this off. J-Mac's going to score a brace. We're going to win 2-0. Okay. My calculator, though, tells me a different story. It's a very ugly story. Okay. So to begin with, Sydney FC are averaging like 2 goals a game. Okay. Whereas we're averaging under 2 goals a game. The number of goals that they've conceded at the moment, sort of averaging less than 1. We're conceding 1.5 goals per game. So my calculator says here, mate, we're going to get done 2-1. So we can split it down the middle. It's a 2-all draw, okay?
The flamboyant and opinionated Timbo. What do you reckon, son?
Well, knowing Eric's game plan, which is big on the press and, using the speed out wide to try and score, I believe we'll probably win it 2-1, and we will obviously drop a goal when they get us on the counter because we've pressed forward.
You're probably right. I agree. But also, I think what I reckon you're going to see a more defensive City than an attacking City. I think because of the match fitness. That's my anyway. Yeah, but I agree. I like what you're saying. All right, Mr. Blakey, one City Santa. What do you reckon, son?
I agree with Tim and Daniel on this one. I think it's a 2-1 as well to the City Boys. I reckon we got to get probably a first goal from young Kolkowski to seal it in the last couple of minutes.
All right, 2-1. So we're all, apart from Jack's calculator, we're all going for City to win. I reckon we should get together and find Jack's calculator and beat it to smithereens.
Or put some new batteries in it anyway.
I'll put down the heart factor, okay?
I might have to send Mr. Chris a little private text message to eliminate that calculator.
Well, I'll tell you what, I did have an option, okay, and you guys, will probably appreciate this. I was thinking of getting, I guess, a Melbourne City badge and a Sydney FC badge, okay, and putting it on the ground and let Zach decide,
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Wasn't it in the World Cup turtle or something that they used to
Yeah,
get?
the octopus.
And then they had
The
another one.
octopus.
The octopus, that's the
Yeah. So I reckon
That was
that's
in
sort of like-
Germany.
maybe you can get Molly to do it, mate.
one. I reckon Molly's claimed everything in this house at the moment.
Yeah, just cut
What
out
about
2
Charlie?
and put it on the ground.
Charlie's a good girl. Charlie, like, she'll scratch the door and wants to go outside and does her little business outside. So she's-
Oh, maybe the one city puppy, Banjo, named after last Tinkerbell and Jenna could do it. So,
Maybe.
No, that's right. But look, overall, I think it'll fall down to match fitness. I don't
Yeah.
think our quality of team, and even if we're correct with Timmy's lineup or the lineup that you said, Blakey, I think that we will have a strong team on the field.
yeah.
And by what our boys have produced, look, even when it was a regular season, they'll play a brand of football. You think, wow, and then the week after they'll go backwards. What I'm hoping doesn't happen, and even we've always spoken about it at the games. We'll kick that first goal, then we'll go back in our shell.
Mm.
Now that's what I'm concerned about too. Now, if we go back in our shells without match fitness, Sydney's just going to run all over us. But remember, they got 3 games under their belt, so their match fitness. Haven't they played 3 games?
No, this
No,
is
they're
their
going
third
to
now.
play their third.
So this will be their
against
third.
one.
Right. So even with the 2 games under their belt, their match fitness will be better than ours.
I
Didn't
think-
they have a 10-day break?
Who had a 10-day break?
Sydney FC. Because
Did
their
they?
last game was 10 days ago.
Well, we've had more than a 10-day break.
They had their first 2 pretty close. But what I was going to say is, don't
10
underestimate
days.
No Grant.
Yeah,
He's a big loss. He is a big loss. He's had a season out of his skin this year.
All right. So we got Blakey. You're going City. I'm going City. The boys, Danny and Chris, City. And the boys, City. Calculator. Piss off. We don't want to hear You're not part of the crew.
I'll tell you what, the next match preview we do, I'll get Zach involved, okay? So we put the calculator to one side, we get Zach involved, and and then you can blame the dog.
That's
We'll give the calculator one more go.
And here's a good
Thank you.
Here's a good reason for you to get rid of it too. You made a
Oh,
fluke.
Zach. I've been trying
Well,
hard enough.
over this isolation, I've been watching a lot of old movies, and I watched the old Clint Eastwood Every Which Way But Loose and Every Which Way You Can, right? Now, in Every Which Way You Can, they've got this glass case, and they put a cobra and actually black mamba and mongoose in the. I reckon we put the City shirt on the cobra or the black mamba, and the Sydney one on the mongoose, and that's how we decide who wins.
I reckon we should. All right, boys. Anything else you guys want to add to our little conversation? Because I think we're pressing for time. Is that right, Mr. Timekeeper?
Yes, we are.
I just want to say on behalf of the club, and I'm probably going to get told off for this, but I want to say thank you guys for your support over the past 10 years and continue support for this tough time. So on behalf of Melbourne City, thank you very much, and thank you for having me on your podcast.
Pleasure.
Thanks, Blakey.
All right, with that, we got the predictions out the way. We got our little say. Thank you for watching, people. This is the Sons of City with City Santa. This is our YouTube channel. Hit the like button, subscribe, share us.
On Instagram,
See you
Facebook.
on Sunday with after match. Only one
Bye, guys.
City for life.
Yeah.
Wear a mask.
Yes.